Story 1. The Lockdown True Horror Story from inside a middle school. It was a gray, cloudy Thursday in early November when the school day took an unexpected turn. The morning had been quiet, almost too quiet, with a steady drizzle tapping against the windows. I had just finished my third period class and was heading to the quad for lunch with a few friends. We were joking around, talking about weekend plans, when a sudden sharp sound cracked through the air. Then another and another. At first, I thought it might be construction, or maybe a car backfiring nearby. But after the fourth bang, people started to panic. Some froze. Others looked toward the parking lot. Then the loudspeaker crackled on. "This is a lockdown. This is not a drill. Everyone, proceed to the nearest safe space immediately." That's when things turned chaotic. Teachers shouted for students to get inside. Lunches were dropped, backpacks left behind. I grabbed my friend Layla and pulled her with me toward the library. It was the closest building with the lights still on. Once inside, a staff member locked the doors behind us. We were packed into the reading room. The librarian pulled down the blinds. Phones buzzed. Whispers floated in the air, but mostly there was silence. A heavy, nervous silence. Someone said they heard from a friend that a man had been spotted near the back fence. A man who wasn't supposed to be there. A man the police already knew. He'd been pacing near the edge of campus, wearing a coat and muttering to himself. Some teachers had seen him from their classrooms and called it in. They say he had made threats before, and now he'd gotten too close. Sirens screamed in the distance. A helicopter thumped overhead. We all just waited. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, a police officer entered and gave the all clear. We were released class by class, carefully, quietly. As I walked down the hallway, I glanced out a window and saw officers standing around a man in cuffs. He looked ordinary, just a guy in a gray hoodie, but the look in his eyes sent chills down my spine. Later, we found out he had been living in his car near the school. He was mentally unstable, off his meds, and had approached several students that week. One of them reported it. That report may have saved lives. Now, when I walk past that back fence, I always look at the sidewalk where they found it. It's just concrete, ordinary cracked pavement, but I'll never forget how different it felt that day. Story 2. Trapped in the classroom, the horror of a real school lockdown. It was a rainy Tuesday afternoon, fourth period biology. We had just finished a unit test, so our teacher gave us the rest of the class to relax or catch up on homework. The room was quiet, filled with the soft tapping of keyboards and the occasional whisper between friends. You could hear the rain tapping against the windows, giving everything this oddly calming background rhythm. Then the intercom crackled. Everyone froze. A voice, definitely not our principal's, spoke shakily. "All teachers, please initiate lockdown procedures immediately. This is not a drill." Our teacher, normally cheerful and upbeat, dropped the book she was holding. She rushed to the door, locked it, flipped off the lights, and motioned for us to get down behind the lab tables. We complied without a word. You could feel the shift in the air, confusion turning to fear. Minutes passed in silence, broken only by the occasional rumble of thunder. That's when we heard footsteps in the hallway. Heavy, fast. Then suddenly, stopping right outside our door, someone jiggled the handle. No one dared breathe. Then a voice, deep, hoarse, and unfamiliar, spoke through the door. "I know you're in there. Open up." A girl near me covered her mouth with both hands to stop from sobbing. Another student gripped my arm so tightly it hurt, but I didn't move. The doorknob twisted again, then pounding. First one fist, then two, then something metal, maybe a chair, slammed into the door over and over. We waited, frozen, as the sounds eventually faded, the footsteps retreating down the hall. The minutes after that felt endless. Finally, the intercom crackled again. It was the principal this time, her voice trembling as she explained that an unidentified man had slipped in through a delivery entrance. A staff member spotted him wandering the halls, and when approached, he lashed out and ran. They believed he was no longer in the building, but no one was to leave their classrooms. It wasn't until later that day we found out he'd been found hiding in the gym equipment storage room. No one could say for sure what he wanted, only that he was clearly disturbed. The scariest part? Rumors went around that he had been spotted walking past the school earlier that morning, just watching. To this day, no one really knows how long he had been planning to come inside. Story 3. He said he was hiding, but he wasn't one of us. I graduated college just a few months ago and landed a part-time IT job at the public library I used to visit as a kid. It's a cozy old building with creaky floors, endless shelves, and a surprisingly modern tech center tucked into the basement. That's where I work most days. Alone, surrounded by servers and forgotten office furniture. The staff upstairs are friendly, and I've started to enjoy the quiet routine. But one rainy Thursday afternoon, that routine was shattered. I was eating lunch at my desk, a cold burrito and chips, when my phone buzzed with an alert from the library's internal system. It read, "Lockdown in effect. Secure area. Await further instructions." I blinked at it, confused. A test? A drill? But then I heard something upstairs. A loud thud. Then another, muffled shouting. I stood up, heart racing. The basement door at the top of the stairs slammed shut. Then silence. I turned off my monitor, killed the lights, and crawled under my desk. hugging my knees to my chest. The basement was pitch black, except for the faint glow from my phone. I texted 2 coworkers, no reply. 10 minutes passed. Then I heard it, the unmistakable sound of the basement door opening. It creaked long and slow, echoing through the concrete walls. Heavy footsteps started descending the stairs. I held my breath. Whoever it was, they weren't in a hurry. Just slow, steady footsteps coming closer. Then, nothing. Just silence. Suddenly, the footsteps moved again. Faster now, and stopped just outside the server room. The door creaked open. Someone whispered, "Hey, is someone in here?" It was a man's voice, calm, too calm. He stepped inside, using his phone flashlight. Then he saw me under the desk. "Oh, thank God," he said. "Are you okay?" "I'm just a maintenance worker. I was upstairs when everything happened. I came down here to hide." I stared at him. Gray hoodie, jeans, a tool bag in his hand. "I think someone dangerous came in," he said. "Did you see anyone come down?" I shook my head slowly. "No, just you." He nodded. "Okay, just stay quiet. I think they're still upstairs." Then he sat beside me, too close. Something felt wrong. My phone buzzed again. A text from my coworker. "Police say the suspect's in a gray hoodie. Don't trust anyone. Basement may not be secure." I didn't look up. I just stared at the floor, my heart thudding in my ears. He noticed. "What is it?" he asked. Without thinking, I bolted from under the desk and sprinted for the stairs. He shouted after me. Something metal clanged to the floor, then footsteps chasing me. I reached the top, threw open the door, just as 2 officers burst into the building. They tackled him the moment he came into view. He wasn't staff, no ID, no explanation, just a weapon in his bag, and a list of names the police never shared. I haven't been back to that basement since, and I don't think I ever will.